Hey, welcome to Vinyl Village Garage. My name is John. What we're going to get in today is what you see behind me right here. Ram Air 3 kits for, well, this is 1969 TransAm clone, but we're going to do the best we can to make it look legit, right? So I bought one of these kits, kind of did an inventory on it. It's missing stuff to make it functional or complete. So these complete kits aren't so complete necessarily. So I've got compiled a list. I'll show you as we go the missing pieces if you want to go down this road. And there are some things that are just less than stellar that just aren't working so well. And you might want to know before you jump in the deep end and buy this thing. And then not to mention the worst part, I had to cut the inside of the hood after everything was painted. I probably should have done a better job of mocking this stuff up, but there were some clearance issues for the pans. I know on GTOs they had a thing, but the TransAms, I guess I don't know why I didn't think about it, but you have to notch that hood. That was a little nerve-wracking. But nonetheless, let's get into this. I'll show you what the kit comes with, what it don't, and we're going to get it put on here on Project Mockingbird. Well, first things first, it's kind of a comprehensive, expensive kit, right? It comes with the big metal pans, these foam pieces, and the air filter. But some of the things it doesn't come with is the vacuum line, little crankcase, breather, grommets, the bolts that actually secure the big pan to the hood, and even the bolts that hold the air filter to the actual upper pan. It doesn't even come in the kit. Now, they're not that complicated. It's $1.20. I went with a flange head with a locking washer that would help keep those in place, because last thing I wanted to do is these fall out because it'll actually land right in the carburetor. There is no air filter. This is what holds the air filter in. So these working loose, they're not ideal. So I'm not sure how the factory worked them, but this is what I went with. And then the other things that don't come with is this thermostatic vacuum switch. This is what opens and closes these here doors here for cold weather running. Like this thing's ever going to see the cold weather, right? Well, there's a hole in here. This is the same as the original 2-barrel one, or if you have a 4-barrel, you can actually recycle that. But if not, they're available on the aftermarket world. And the little rubber grommets that go between the vacuum hoses and the pans, they don't come with that none of stuff either. Nor does it come with these plastic tubes, which I've already installed. Let me tell you, get a lot of sleep, get a lot of practice, and be patient working these things in here, because they are a pain in the butt. You have to take these hood scoops out of the hood, and they slide in through this opening and go back into place. Then where I had to notch it was this side here. I had to take out part of that inner brace. Again, a little nerve-wracking on a car that's just been painted, but that's how we had to do it, because that foam has to tuck up in here and go around these inlets. Now, it doesn't have to be secured 100% airtight, but that's how they had did it. This side seems to clear okay. Probably supposed to be notched some, but we're going to go with it. And the other thing that I don't like is the air filter actually has to seal to the hood. Well, this hood has a groove right here. So what the factory has is a foam seal that actually went on the air filter, and every time you change the air filter, you're supposed to replace it. Well, we're not going to do that. I've got some 3/4 inch wide weather stripping. I'm going to use that to seal it to the hood. At least that's my idea, because that is the one part that is not available, is the rubber seal. I'll show the diagram right here. As you can see there on the part listing, it shows a part for it, but no longer available from nobody. So we're going to use this to actually help seal this ring to the hood. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and get started putting this thing together. Now, on the hood, this is the foam seal that goes between the hood, and this is the upper pan. Now, this upper pan isn't without faults either. A few of the holes are not drilled. I did pre-drill those holes where I put the hood on the car, but I don't know why I didn't test fit the foam. The other problem I ran into is while test fitting the hardware, it still turns by hand. These nuts are not bonded or welded worth a crap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld the ones that popped off. This is the one that survived. These other ones just popped right off by just running it in by hand. So it tells me that I need to re-weld all 4 of them. Now, if you're using a Ram Air 400 car on a regular 400 Bird, not a Trans Am, you have these here for the cable to open the door. So this one was missing. So if you're going to use those, I would suggest tacking those into place, because what happens is if this breaks loose, the only way to service the air filter is remove this entire pan off the car. So not the end of the world, but it's a lot easier if it worked like it was designed. So those are a few little things there, but I'm going to get these welded into place. Then we'll work on getting this rustled up and this. Oh, actually, we got to install these little Dujima flippers here. They got to be put on. They're held on by popper, but you see the holes are actually drilled, so that shouldn't be too hard to put that into place. And that's just sort of when it's cold out, you're supposed to open up and draw the hot air from the exhaust. But again, I don't know if they have to work necessarily for this car, but I'm going to put them on because these holes are exposed when the hood is open, and you can actually see these doors and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and install them. So let's get those 4 nuts welded into place, Then we'll put these things on too. All right, I've got these little things welded solid into place. I'm feeling more confident those are not going to rattle themselves out. I got the vacuum actuated doors here pop riveted into place, so that way when you look at it, this is the side that's visible once installed. They have the nice little aluminum head showing on them, so that looks pretty cool. So that's all said and done. Now here's the first part that we're going to need that was not included in the kit. There's a hole right here. That's where, actually, a couple parts here. This is where the vacuum lines come through, then hook into our little vacuum actuated doors. Now, the other thing is, they don't come with a grommet either, so I had to buy these separate. Now, this hose kit, I actually bought it for $69.70 GTO from Inline Tube from Amazon. About $15-20. Now, you can buy the pieces separate from Ames, the T-fitting and the vacuum line, but in all seriousness, it's easier just to buy the kit. Again, this is for GTO, but it should work. That's what we're going to work on doing here now. Then we'll put the grommet here in the pan, and then feed the hose through, and that's what ties into the air cleaner fitting on the actual air. You'll see a barb on there. You'll see if you ever got to take the air cleaner apart, there's a junction that actually hooks into the one end here. You can actually service it, take it apart. So we'll get that fish through next. Actually, second thoughts, one more thing. I figured before I get carried away, I want to show you the pieces that do not come with the kit. And that's what it is right here. We'll start with this here. Vacuum sensor could be recycled possibly from your old one. A vacuum line kit that comes with this union, which ties into this T. And that loops around, hooks into this vacuum switch. So part 1, 2 is the hose kit. 3, you need 2 of these rubber grommets. You need the crankcase breather. You might be able to recycle that from your old one, but again, they're not that expensive. And the clip, that does not come with it. So we've covered those parts. And then these are the bolts that actually attach this pan to the hood. Again, they don't make a Firebird kit. This is the $69.70 GTO kit. It comes with the washers and the right thread bolt, so you can buy it that way. And then the crankcase breather tube for Ram air cars. This is shaped differently, so you must buy that to hook it up, and the elbow, which then ties into the bottom side of the crankcase breather. And this is just part of the vacuum line kit. And then this is actually recyclable, but I have it laid out. I actually had to buy one because I didn't have one. And then the clamp. And this is going to be the seal that we're going to use, 3/4 inch wide, 3/8 thick. Hope that'll help get the air filter assembly then sealed to the top of the hood. So we're going to cover those pieces. I'll put together a list of part numbers and everything right here if you want to take a screenshot and order that stuff. That's what does not come with the kit for the TransAm style Ram air pan. I almost forgot one more piece that don't come with the kit. Back here on the back of the carburetor, these are studs. This one's hollow, and that is actually the vacuum source for those doors, so I almost forgot that. So I'll put the part number for that just the same. Got the vacuum hoses routed. Comes off this one. That's a nice little clip there for that one, but it has the T, goes over here, goes out, and that rubber grommet, then it goes through, and that pokes down here to the air cleaner side of it there. So that being all routed and done, I think this is ready to be installed back on the hood. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go. I'm hoping well, but we're going to wrestle this up into place. I think we'll start one on the front bolts here. Okay, we'll start 2 of the front bolts. Well, we gotta orientate that foam seal. I don't really know if it'd be easier to take the hood off and flip it upside down, or just do what I'm doing here and hope for the best. But regardless, we gotta get it in here. And we gotta get the front pulled up. Okay. Well, I don't know if they know this is the best or the worst way to do this. Alright, driver's side here fell down as soon as I got it up into place. I don't know if it'd be better to glue it to the pan. I just don't know about gluing it because it'd be in the wrong spot. There we go. Just wasn't holding my mouth right. Okay. And of course, it makes the hood a whole lot heavier. Well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I got to keep it tucked up tight against the little inlets here. Got a little foam here. I just got to keep it tucked back behind the T-fitting there. I'll just keep working my bolts around, but I think that ought to work. I'm not really sure if you can see what I was doing, but that seal is tucked up in here by the little tubes on each side. Makes a little loop, and then of course it encases the air filter area. This is what I'm talking about. The air filter now needs the seal to the hood, and this is our vacuum hose going to run our little doors. So that's actually looking pretty good. All the bolts tightened up. Now I debated doing my normal RTV on the back side of these bolts. Same thing. I don't necessarily want those falling out, but they seem to pull down pretty tight with those washers. Kind of help set it into place. I think it's going to be all right. So the next little obstacle, we're just going to put a little foam seal on our air filter and put it into place and see how that goes. Okay, here goes nothing. This is the metal panel that holds the air filter in. Now, it's obviously bare steel 100%. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. I will paint this at a later date, but I want to get this all test fitted and working. That's just 4 bolts to remove that. I think it'll be okay. This is that weather stripping that I had sitting around for other projects. It has a nice sticky back on it. As long as it sticks good to this air filter, we'll make our own little ring. Now, if you didn't want to have to put this on the air filter every time you replace it, I guess technically you could figure out where it went on the hood and put it on the hood sheet metal just the same. But I think for the time being, I think the factory by the illustration shows that it was on the air filter, but I don't actually know that. But we'll make this work. My idea is get the thing sealed to the hood best I can to help prevent any dirt or getting dust in that engine, because that's about the worst thing ever, dusting an engine. But again, this car won't see the harsh environments or the climates, but I think still it's worth putting a little effort into sealing this thing up. So, yeah, this seems to be working okay. Now I just hope that peak of the hood's got a pretty tall point in it. Now, as long as this will work, I hope that closes up that gap. If not, we'll probably get like 90% effectiveness on the seal. So I think we'll be okay. All right, there we go. Air filter, ram air modified. So we'll go ahead now, grab our little panel there and put it in the hood. Now that was relatively uneventful. It went into place. Now that foam seal actually did close up that bridge up there, the gap. So I'm thinking that 3/8 thick stuff worked just fine. So that's in place. Again, I'll probably take that off later and paint it. I just want to get this thing all mocked up and test fit to make sure it's going to work. So we'll go ahead and get the crankcase breather tube in place there. And the lower pan, pretty self-explanatory. I think it ought to go pretty easily. I don't suspect there'll be any major hiccups or issues with this thing. It's as simple as hooking up our crankcase breather. It goes into that little slot there with the clip. This goes into the valve cover. Actually, we'll just do that right quick. These are 2 separate part numbers. Again, I'll have those listed for you. I think they should have came with the kit because the factory crankcase breather tube will not work with this kit. There we go. That's about the right location. Now I've put it into place. Now we have the little small vacuum hose. Now this goes onto that barb on the rear of the carburetor into one side of this. It's not, like I say, it doesn't matter what side is which. It's just an open and closed vacuum switch. So you can put it orientation either way. And this hose then ties into the opposite one that's not being used. So I'll probably do the one little loop closest to it, and the other one on the outside here going down to the carburetor. Here we go, visualize this. It comes out here. That one, then the loose end here, this will tie into that barb on the rear of the carburetor that we installed. And there's our clip on our crankcase vent. That was what I just got done putting on. Now this panel literally just lays on the carburetor, and then actually is tied down with that J-shaped bolt and the wing nut here on that front stud. Oh, something else. That right down there, you'll see right by the firing order thing there, that is a vacuum cap you need to install on ram air cars. I think normally the factory air cleaner uses that port, but we don't use that port for this setup. A wing nut goes on there, hook the little J up there, and then this little doohickey hooks onto like so. There we go. All right, so now this back here, if I can get my hands in here. Now this will actually hook into that vacuum port that I have capped off right now. Well, that's on there good, that cap. Oh, there we go. All right. Now I can officially hook this up. Now again, this is only for cold weather operation. I don't know how often this thing's going to see the cold weather without it ever been an issue, but it's just kind of cool to say it's all on there and operational. So there. Now that's done. Now these two get hooked together. This is our service junction here, that little splice. Now, in case you ever got to take the air pan off it, it's a separable section right here. So I may have to cut these to length depending on how it operates, opening and shutting the hood, but we get the idea. Now I'll get that wing nut and little J nut. This is where the ram air pans hook to the quadrajet. There's a little hole back here in the corner of the quadrajet, right there, a little J hook. Get the camera stick, so we'll hook into that and run your wing nut down. Go ahead and grab that. All right, I got both the fasteners installed, the J bolt and that one there. Now this is the only thing you have for a line of defense if something were to go down into this engine. It's one hell of an air restriction too, as for performance purposes, but we're not really building a race car. We're just building one that looks like one. And something else that I don't like, and this isn't a problem with the kit, this is Pontiac factory. That's the hood. That's this bare steel on the top side. If you ever had a carburetor fire, you just scorched your hood. So maybe this will help keep some of the flame down. So as much as I want to try to leave it off probably for performance issues, I hate to burn the paint up on the hood. So we'll get that foam seal. And we got the little stovepipe thing that goes from our exhaust manifold up to that. And we just got this thing done. And the last piece of the puzzle, quite simply, the easiest piece to install. There we go, done. It just kind of resides here on that pan. And then we just hook up these two little hoses there. And we'll actually practice shutting the hood, make sure it looks like it's going to clear. But that just about wraps up that ram air installation. And last but not least, went ahead and got that vacuum hose route. I got the hood goes all the way up. Of course, these hoods sag a little bit, but that has a little bit of slack in it. Watch just when it shuts. It tucks right inside that rubber area for the seal. So I think that's going to work just fine. And there you have it. Ram air installation. Ram air 3, mind you, on a TransAm style hood. So there you have it. Got it all done on Project Mockingbird. Love, hate, indifferent. I wish that the kit was more comprehensive. It doesn't even give you a list of the missing parts either. I had to do some research, grab the old book, the assembly manual, and do some researching. And then on top of that, all the parts are available. Use the GTO stuff. But again, here's a copy of that list of all the stuff that doesn't come with the kit. This is the kit that I purchased from the parts place. I'm going to assume all the other kits are very similar, or if not identical, because even the pictures look the same. I don't see those grommets. I don't see the vacuum hoses. I don't see the little elbow going from the crankcase vent. But it's just one of those things that for this car, trying to build the most accurate clone as possible, it was a necessary thing we needed to do. And to be honest with you, this is the very first actual Pontiac ram air style system I have ever installed. So it wasn't awful. Give me some practice. Now I know what to expect. And now you do too, just the same in case you want to jump in the deep end and try to install this on your hood. The biggest challenges were those little hood inserts, those tubes, riding those through there. My goodness, it was awful. And I finally had to use a rubber mallet and a piece of wood and just slowly work them into place. It is a tight fit. So nonetheless, I hope you found this video helpful, entertaining, educational, or just, that was awful. Either way, appreciate you watching. Following along on Project Mockingbird. We're going to move on to some more of the, gooder stuff here. Still gonna get that front bumper put on. He'll look a whole lot happier with his smiley face back on the front of the car, but soon enough, I'll get that taken care of. So appreciate you following me on the journey on the Mockingbird. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and we'll catch you guys and gals next time.